Now we're going to move to part 2 of our rankings special for week 14 of the NFL season. This one will cover tight ends and wide receivers. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to the video below so you can help get our content out to all other people. We're going to dive right into the tight end rankings. You'll see a lot of familiar faces at the top. We've got George Kittle 1, Travis Kelce 2, Mark Andrews 3, and then we go Gronk 4 and Dawson Knox at 5. Dawson Knox is playing a big role in the Bills' passing game. He had a couple bad drops against the Patriots. Drops are an issue with him. They have been in the past. But Knox seems to have really turned the corner and taken a step forward this year. So we're going to assume that maybe the drops are a little blip. We talked about this over the preseason with Jamar Chase, that drops aren't really a sticky stat. So we're going to go right back to the well with Dawson Knox in a game where the Bills should have to pass a lot. Rounding out the top 10, we've got TJ Hawkinson at 6, Pat Freiermuth at 7, Dalton Schultz at 8, Tyler Conklin at 9, and Kyle Pitts at 10. So Freiermuth and Conklin are both here because they have massive red zone roles. As of this, by the time you watch this video, Tyler Conklin will have played without Adam Thielen, which is why we like him in the top 10. Freiermuth is seeing a huge red zone role in Pittsburgh. Chase Claypool has seen his targets kind of fluctuate back and forth since dealing with this toe injury. So we don't know if he aggravated it last week or what, but he wasn't as involved in the passing game as we've seen in weeks prior. But Freiermuth is a consistent part of their offense in the red zone, which gives him a lot of value. Same thing with Dalton Schultz. Amari Cooper last week was still kind of dealing with the after effects of his bout with COVID. Cooper should be more heavily involved, so it might ding Schultz a little bit. But he's been a really big factor in their offense. It's going to be a tough matchup against Washington, but it is a good tight end matchup, so we think that Schultz will be valuable for you. And then Kyle Pitts rounds out the top 10, and some people are still just kind of, putting him up in the top 5 because we know he's a freak athlete and he has great talent. But he's really suffered without Calvin Ridley there to stretch the field as the number one passing option, getting a lot of the attention from the defense. He hasn't really been this kind of like locked and loaded tight end one that you can count on every single week. The matchup is pretty good against Carolina, and we like the talent, so he's going to be in your lineup, but he should be kind of considered a low-end tight end 1, high-end tight end 2 right now, with obviously considerable upside. And then your tight end options outside of the top 10. You've got Zach Ertz at 11, you've got Noah Fant at 12, Evan Ingram at 13, Tyler Higbee at 14, and Jared Cook at 15. Zach Ertz played a big role in Arizona since coming over. There's a lot of pass-catching options, so you never really know how the targets are going to be spread out, which keeps him outside of the top 10. Noah Fant is part of this really talented Denver pass-catching group that just can't seem to get into a rhythm with Teddy Bridgewater. And then Jared Cook, his ranking could be higher, again, depending on what happens with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. If those two guys are out, Cook will likely be the number 1 option in the passing game or number 2 behind Austin Eckler. So that will probably jump him up around the Kyle Pitts, Tyler Conklin range inside of the top 10. And now we're going to move to wide receiver. Top 5 wide receivers, you've got Devontae Adams, number 1. You've got Justin Jefferson, number 2. You've got Cooper Kupp, number 3. Tyreek Hill, number 4. And Stephon Diggs, number 5. By the time you watch this, Justin Jefferson will have already played. We think he's in a smash spot without Adam Thielen. Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, Tyreek Hill all give you really high upside. Stephon Diggs, in a game again that we think will be really high scoring, has super high ceiling for the Bills. Must-win game. Josh Allen's going to come out firing. I think you're going to see a good Stephon Diggs week. Rounding out the top 10, number 6, you've got Deontay Johnson. Number 7, you've got Cordero Patterson. Number 8, CeeDee Lamb. Number 9, Chris Godwin. And number 10, DeAndre Hopkins. Godwin is in here. We don't really know, again, where the Buccaneers are going to spread around their passing game usage. The Bills have been great against wide receivers this year, but it's important to note they have no Trey White anymore. The first game we saw the Bills without Trey White, they only faced 3 pass attempts in a loss to the Patriots. So we don't really know how this secondary is going to hold up without Trey White, but I, as a Bills fan, am not super confident in Levi Wallace and Dane Jackson against Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, these pass-catching options. Could be Evans up here, could be Godwin. We don't really know. You'll see Evans just in a little bit, so they're both pretty highly ranked. You're starting both of them if you have both of them. Deontay Johnson is seeing massive target share. from Ben Roethlisberger. So you're definitely going to want him in your lineups as well, though he will also have played by the time that you watch this video. Outside of the top 10, number 11, we have Jamar Chase. Number 12, Terry McLaurin. Number 13, DK Metcalf. Number 14, Mike Evans. And number 15, Mike Williams. Mike Williams is the more likely to play as of now than Keenan Allen. So he's here 15, assuming that he does play. If Keenan Allen doesn't play, maybe you could bump Mike Williams up a little bit as well. But again, you need to keep an eye on this situation. Jamar Chase is at 11, and some people may be saying, well, T. Higgins had the better week last week. That's true. Jamar Chase was still heavily involved, and he did drop a pass that could have gone for like a 60-yard touchdown. We know drops were an issue for him before, but again, drops are not really a sticky stat. He's constantly used in the passing game. If he has that 60-yard touchdown, now you're like, why is Jamar Chase not in the top 5? So if you have Jamar Chase, you're still playing Jamar Chase. Same thing with CeeDee Lamb. Same thing with Mike Evans. These are kind of elite talents that you're always keeping in your lineup. Rounding out the top 20, at 16, we have T. Higgins. At 17, we have DJ Moore. At 18, we have Elijah Moore. At 19 is Amari Cooper, and 20 is Tyler Lockett. Yes, Elijah Moore is in the top 20. Elijah Moore has seen massive increase in his routes, in his targets. Yes, Zach Wilson is still a little bit kind of sporadic as a quarterback, but Elijah Moore is getting peppered with targets. He's a very talented player. There's no more Corey Davis. It's really just Elijah Moore and Jamison Crowder in that passing game. So in a game that the Jets are likely going to trail, it's going to be a lot of Elijah Moore. I don't expect the Saints to shadow him with Marshawn Lattimore, which means you're going to see more in some plus matchups as well. He is firmly inside of the top 20 for us. We talked about Mike Evans already and T. Higgins. These guys are seeing a lot of targets. They're in offenses that pass a decent amount. T. Higgins showed you the skill last week. He should be played in all lineups. Rounding out the wide receiver 2s, at 21, we have Hollywood Brown. 22 is Hunter Renfrow. 23 is Chase Claypool. And 24 is Brandon Ayuk. Hunter Renfrow is up here, assuming we don't get Darren Waller again. He's seeing a massive target share without Darren Waller. If Darren Waller is playing, you probably bump Hunter Renfrow down to a wide receiver 3. Brandon Ayuk is still up here. I know it didn't hit last week without Deebo Samuel. George Kittle just kind of went ape, but Ayuk is still the wide receiver 1 for them, even though Kittle is probably the number 1 receiving option. He's going to be heavily used. I think the Bengals are going to put up points, which is going to mean that the 49ers are going to have to pass. Without Elijah Mitchell likely playing this week, I think you might see a lot more of Brandon Ayuk in these kind of short passing game as well. Now a couple wide receivers outside of the wide receiver 2 tier that we want you to keep an eye on. We got Russell Gage, who we have ranked 33, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's 46, and then Josh Reynolds at 50. Russell Gage is the wide receiver 1 in Atlanta. With a lot of defenses paying attention to Kyle Pitts, Gage has seen some pretty big weeks the last couple of weeks. He may get the Stephon Gilmore treatment this week, but we're not entirely sure. But he still should have pretty good usage in a solid matchup against the Panthers. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has seen his routes and his targets go up in recent weeks. Now Randall Cobb is going to be out for a while. So we're still going to see Marquez Valdes-Scantling be a big part of that offense. He has been since Robert Tonyan went out as well a couple weeks back. And they're facing the Bears, who give up a lot of deep passes. And we know that Aaron Rodgers likes looking for MVS on those deep passes. So he could be in for a decent week. And then Josh Reynolds. I know Amon-Ra St. Brown had a good week for the Lions last week and caught that game-winning touchdown. I'm picking Reynolds if I'm picking a Detroit wide receiver. He's been kind of their deep play threat and also their most targeted receiver consistently since he's taken on this new role in their offense after being signed. So in deep leagues, I think Reynolds is a playable option. As a reminder, you can click the link below to get our updated rankings as the week goes on and we get more information. Please like and subscribe to the video to get all of our content and help other people find our content. And good luck in week 14.